finally time for a full tour of our setup. We've had so many people ask us about our rig, both back home as on the road. So here we go. And honestly, it's also a way of giving back to the overlanding community, because videos like this helped me a lot when I was doing my research on what kind of a rig and setup I wanted. This video isn't necessarily better than others out there. We're just trying to share our experience, maybe offer a new perspective and inspiring others on their overlanding adventure. We've been living and traveling full-time out of this setup for 5 months now. From the snowy roads of New York to the blazing heat of Death Valley, through rainforest, across mountain peaks, along coastal beaches, over the dunes, in the mud, over rivers, through rivers, in typhoons, forest fires and sandstorms. We've really put it through its paces. So by now we feel confident giving a solid real-world review of what's worked, what hasn't, and what we learned along the way. Having spent several months traveling through Australia in a 4x4 with a rooftop tent, we learned a lot along the way and knew exactly what we wanted this time. Looking for a high clearance, capable and reliable truck, we knew the Toyota Tacoma was a weapon of choice. Since we rarely stay more than a couple of days in one spot, we wanted a quick and easy setup that also provided a strong sense of safety inside. So the Alu-Cab Camper was the clear choice for us. We kick off with an outside tour of the truck, how it's set up and what modifications we have. And after that we'll dive into the Alu-Cab Camper, show you what we have on board and how we set everything up. If you're mainly here for the camper setup, I've added a timestamp link in the description below, so you can skip ahead. So you're looking at a beautiful quicksand colored 2017 Tacoma TRD off-road, obviously 4x4. I have to confess straight away, I didn't build it. I bought this whole setup as is from a guy named Joe who did an awesome job on building this. We did put in a new grille with matching Toyota logo to give it our own touch, or actually Joe put it in there for us. Thanks again, Joe. Looks awesome. And we installed those ditch lights ourselves. Starting off with those awesome black matted wheels. With the BF Goodrich all-terrain tires. KO2s. These tires have been absolutely amazing. On the front we're rocking the 2.5-inch lifted King's off-road racing shocks with adjustable reservoir, with the Camberg upper control arm. The BV lower control arm is from Toyota, TVJ front axles and Overland custom design sway bar links. They did a real good job with the cap mount chop. They cut off a piece of the frame, welded back together. It prevents the tire from rubbing against the frame when off-roading. Of course in the back as well, the King's 2.5-inch lifted racing shocks. Deaver stage 3 leaf springs to carry the load of the Alu-Cab. So the truck sits real nice with all the weight in the back. A thick TRD aluminum bash plate. Got the rigid fog lights. Blackwood Adventure Mods rock sliders. These are real nice. We don't do rock crawling ourselves, but we use it as a step and they're real convenient for people next to you in the parking lot who throws their door open. Alright, what's under the hood? You're looking at the fully stock V6 engine with 278 horsepower and 265 pound-feet of torque. I don't think I have to talk about the Toyota reliable engines. They're the best, they're rock solid. Take good care of her, keep up with the service, the oil changes. She will look after you for thousands and thousands of miles. So the only mod we got here is a dual battery system. hooked up with this Red Arc DC to DC charger. It's programmed in a way it can both charge from the engine alternator as from the solar that's mounted on the roof. It's a 200 watt Renogy solar panel. On the roof we have a Sherpa roof rack with a 95 liter Roam case. It is a little bit bulky, but it doesn't stick out on the Alu-Cab. It's lockable on both sides, so no one can steal it. And there's a lock in the middle to prevent people from opening it. If you're tall like me, then it's really easy. You can reach the other side, but otherwise you have to walk around. So what we have inside here is a piece of wood, a water hose, a water filter, extension cord, air compressor, a grease pump, tire repair kit, and a lot of other junk. And all the Julka accessories for the shower. I might take out the Julka shower already. And I should tell you why. Because it's either you open the Roam box or the Alu-Cab, but it gets real tricky when you want to open the box when the Alu-Cab is opened. So once you remember that, it's not really a big deal, but still a little bit inconvenient. Okay, let's move inside. We have two of those RAM mounts, but I replaced one of them for a quad lock wireless charging head. It's on an Expedition Essential dashboard mount, and we decorated it with a piece of cactus. I removed the mirror as it is not in use anyways. We got our Dutch wooden shoes, a dash cam, and a mount for our DJI action camera. Up here are some of the off-road controls. And yes, it's an automatic. And here we got our drinking bottles and an inverter with European styled sockets and USB ports. From day one the car always had seat covers, so the seats underneath are basically still brand new. And back here, not much to see. This is our closet for all of our clothing. Not much to see, just some organizers. Up there we store our jackets. And in the door we have our toiletries. Some room for shoes, our sunscreen. On the back we have a hitch we don't use. And a convenience. So normally the first thing we do arriving at a campsite is making sure the truck is level, but sometimes we're lucky that the ground is nice and even. Alright, now for the most fun part, the Alu-Cab. So we'll start with the back side. Expedition Essentials lockable propane bottle mount. Our trasheroo, what mainly is meant for storing trash. But we're also having a rubber block in there in case we're parked on a slope, just to have this extra safety. A plastic tarp. And an emergency toilet. And on the other side of the door we have lockable GP Factor mounts for our traction boards. We've sometimes used them for leveling out. And we really needed them once in the dunes. And I kind of like that they're the same color of the truck. Since not that long ago we have a spare 5-gallon fuel tank, but that's solely for Alaska, our next big adventure. It looks a little bit ridiculous with the strap on there. It's just for one trip and probably gonna get rid of it afterwards. Up here we have a propane connection that feeds the Dickinson stove inside. Up here we have our gravity-fed tap and soap bottle. On the back we have two small lights. And up here a bigger floodlight. The Alu-Cab also has a third braking light, I forgot to mention that. And the exhaust for the Dickinson stove inside. On the passenger side we have one mount for installing the Julka shower. The GP Factor step to get on the roof when needed. One of the requirements we had was to be able to set it up quick and easy. And because that's one of the most common questions we get asked, how quick is it? I will set it up in real time. The locks are still on there and you can decide for yourself. All right, let's start the time. And stop. Almost 27 seconds. It's really that simple. Just a gentle push. Too easy. This bungee cord helps pulling the fabric inside when closing it. And we do have an awning up there. We don't use it that often, but it's really convenient for when it's raining or the sun is hitting on this side. And because this is a full tour, I will set it up for you guys. Just undo the Velcro and it rolls down. You can see this way it blocks your view and ventilation, but it does work. It also folds down this way. Now we're using two of those metal rods to keep it open. So it's getting really hot up here, so I can't wait to show you guys one of my favorite features. The Alu-Cab awning. When you open the cover, there are 3 Velcro straps you have to undo. Then take this end and walk all the way to the back side of the truck. You clip it in, extend this little rod and pull the strap tight. Again, really easy to set up. If it's really windy, you can find tie-down straps in each corner. And one end even has a pole built in one of the arms, so you can really tie down everything to the ground if it gets real windy. And this is where you can find the anchors, so you never lose them. This thing is huge. Look how big of a shadow it creates. The silver liner on top reflects the sun and beats all the water off. Because the roof is under an angle, you can point the solar panel towards the sun to have the most optimal power output. And the thing we learned is that if you want to cancel out some noise in the area, you should point the front of the truck towards the noise, because the Alu-Cab roof is a little bit insulated and it will deflect some of the noise off. Sounds stupid, but actually works. And we absolutely love the canvas on the Alu-Cab. It's really thick and sturdy, blocks out most of the light. All right, let's open up both sides to get a little bit more airflow. So the hatches will be opened by 2 strong gas struts. On each side we have an LED light. It will turn red if you hold it. On the sides we have the fly screen. It can be rolled up if needed, or you can pull down the thick canvas. The only time when we pull down these things is when it's really cold. It just gives a little extra layer of insulation. And I made an opening in the thick canvas for if you want to use the light on the inside. The other side is pretty similar, other than we have mounted a shovel and an axe on this panel. Before we move inside, I want to show you guys another cool gadget on the outside. A full-size table is stowed under the Alu-Cab. The only negative thing about it is that it does rattle when you're off-roading. We eliminated that by putting edge protection on the legs, so it would not rattle that much anymore on the table itself. It slides right in those slots. So on the back we have 2 GP Factor mole panels. where we have attached several mole cases, our ouch pouch, which served its purpose already, our JBL speaker and all the coffee essentials, bear spray, bug repellent, sunscreen, lotion, glow stick. 2 lights up here, but you basically can hang anything on these things. USB cables, different types of medicine. Another anti-insect spray, didn't know that was there. And some more sun protection lotion. One of the same lights as throughout the whole camper. A thermometer, both in Fahrenheit and Celsius. An Expedition Essentials paper roll holder with a weight on top so it doesn't blow off in the wind. And save the best for last, this GP Factor table/cutting board. Honestly, this is for sure the most used item on our whole setup. So convenient. When opening and closing the door, it's assisted by a gas strut and reinforced with a strap so it doesn't blow open in the wind. And then there's this little latch to close the door off when you're inside. I know it doesn't look like much, but you actually cannot open the door from the outside when this one is closed. So we place the padlock on the propane bottle and leave the door handle like this. So when you go inside, no one can lock you up from the outside. And even if that was possible, there are many escape routes anyway. It's not locked from the outside. I locked it from the inside. Real safe. For the inside, you still can see both of the hatches are closed. Our chairs are still in there, but that's on purpose. I want to show you guys how we travel. All right, shoes off. Well, if you can tell, there's not much room this way, but we still can access all of our storage and our fridge, but we also can access the fridge from outside, which is really convenient. So first things first, to create more room, we have to open these hatches, which are on gas struts also. This way I can crawl into my bed. But for now I want to show you how it looks when we open everything up. And this opens up all this space. So for reference, I'm 1.90 m, which is 6'2". I have plenty of room. Height-wise, will not hit my head because I cannot go any further than this. So what we do to create a little bit more room inside, take the chairs outside, but they're not using that much of a space. Behind the chairs we have our sink and other plastic things I don't know the name of. Up here we have a bag for fruit and vegetables, and here we have our laundry bag. And underneath here we have our fire extinguisher. Up here we have a small backpack with card and board games. You can see when you open up the bed you even have a little storage for towels, etc. And here we store our rain gutter for the awning. It prevents water from getting in between the Alu-Cab and the awning. And here we store our Julka hot tap. If we want to use it, we simply take it out from the side. It's a really clever and quick bracket. And behind those 3 mole panels, we have a big 90 liters water tank. So when we fill up this tank, we use an RV water filter. We don't use this water for drinking, but for cooking, it's perfectly fine. Another light up here. Moving to the passenger side, this is where we store our gas stove. And the table leg, which I will install in a few seconds. Then we have this fridge. I don't know much about it, even don't know how much liters it is. And if you played Tetris as a kid, you probably can store up to 5 days worth of food in here. Here we stored our tabletop. Recently got this bamboo tabletop. And then we have those Milwaukee pack-outs. Good thing is that you can lock them when you're on the road, so the drawers won't go open on their own. Thing for the breakfast. I don't have to name everything, I guess. And then we have the Dickinson marine grade stove. This thing is amazing. It kept us warm and cozy in very cold temperatures. Safety feature, this carbon monoxide alarm. So the only downside we have on our setup is when you want to use the Dickinson stove, you have to remove this part of the Milwaukee pack-outs. Taking them out is not the hardest part. You can easily slide them out. But storing it somewhere in a limited space, that can be tricky. So we put it on the ground. It's not ideal. And in between the Alu-Cab and the Milwaukee pack out, we have some room for cleaning supplies. And this is normally where we store our little step. So in order to set up the table, we have to move back our carpet a little bit, towel. Pop off the little cover, grab the table stand from this end, tighten the base plate and get a tabletop. Real easy. You can move it around how you like. And yes, we even have a toilet. And on this side we have a nice bench seat. There's actually quite some storage space here. Even has a little switch that turns on the light. And both the truck bed liner on top as on the floor. And on this goose gear board we have all of our electronics. Up here we can find our Victron Energy battery monitor. You can see the voltage of the main battery, the auxiliary battery, how many amps it draws right now, how much watts, and this one shows how much percentage of the battery is still left. Up here another DC voltmeter. I'm never using this one. We have a main trip switch. This one will trip at 25 amps. All the 12 volt auxiliary switches here. So this one will switch the backlights. So this switch provides power to all the inside lights, but every light has its own individual switch. This switch powers the lower outlets. There's its own power on switch, a little bit overkill, but 2 USB ports up here, another 2 up here, and up here 12 volt outlet, in which we hook up our European inverter to connect my laptop to. This switch powers the accessories up in the Alu-Cab. You also can access these for when the bed is closed, but it's easier to show you guys this way. So you have them on both sides. A nice reading light, and up here you have even more USB ports. This switch, the refrigerator, is always on. This one is for the floodlight in the back. And this one both powers the fan built in the Dickinson stove, as the little fan we have up here. I don't think it's hooked up to anything. And you can open these windows just how you like it. Or even the fly screen open. So let's close the bed real quick and show you guys upstairs. Done. At the moment we have a thin blanket on top. Both the thin and the thick blanket we still can close the Alu-Cab. And we have an extra layer of mattress underneath. It's not only the standard Alu-Cab mattress, but also an extra foam topper. So the total thickness is 6 inch, which is a little over 15 centimeters. But if we include our thick blanket as well and our pillow, it will be at least 8 inches, which is over 20 centimeters. And it still closes. So lengthwise, it's short on 7 feet, a little over 200 centimeters. But that's all the way to the top. My feet cannot reach all the way there. Only this part is just enough for me. Someone who is 6'2", 1.90 m. But if we include this part, I have plenty of space lengthwise. Just touch the side, then you're at 4'5", which is 137 in centimeters. I'm not gonna lie, that's a little bit on the tight side. And if you're used to a king size bed at home, you need some time to adjust. Let's put it that way. So at night we do have elbow fights. All right, let's crawl in there. So you can see lengthwise, I'm doing just fine. But in the width, but if we include this part, it's where we store our pillows. There's more room. So this was the insulation I was telling about. And little pockets up here to store our stuff. Use the bed lights, a little bit more difficult to see, but you get it. So I told you it's pretty hot. This thing is a lifesaver. Really small, but works pretty good. I picked the wrong day for doing a tour. Luckily it cools down at night. And that's the one thing we don't have, and that's air conditioning. I'm really looking forward to show you guys how the shower works. It's definitely the most work to set up compared to everything else we have on board, but the feeling of having a nice hot outdoor shower is all worth it. Alright, here we go. So in here we have the propane hose and connector, several water hoses, water pump, shower head, a holder for the shower head. This bit you can use to throw in a water stream to have an endless supply of water. This bit we put on our water tap, the batteries for the control unit and the ignition, and the 12-volt power cord for the pump. You actually can hang the shower up here, but the thing is then you have to take the propane bottle off, place it here, because otherwise the propane hose is not long enough. So instead we place two carabiners on the bottom of the propane bottle and hang the Julka up here. You're really flexible, can go all places with it. This way you're closer to the propane bottle, but you're also quite close to the water source. But again, it's very flexible because you have different water hoses to play around with. So start off with the gas supply. Starting at the water source of the water pump. Look at the arrow. Put the other side there and run the other side back to the water inlet of the Julka. Connect the power supply of the pump. Putting the batteries inside the Julka and connect the water output. And because you have a long cable, you can basically put it anywhere. It also comes with these little straps. So now we have to open the water source, turn on the water pump. Again, turn on the water pump. It turns off automatically when it has built up pressure. Don't forget this one, trust me, been there, done that. So this is basically the temp regulator. This is how much pressure you want. Once it gets going, you can read the temperature in Fahrenheit up here. So we have to use the external water pump because the water pressure from the gravity-fed water tank is just not sufficient. But if you're in a campsite, for example, you can hook your cold water line straight into the Julka hot tub. And then it's just a matter of pulling the switch. This makes all the work worth it. We have to keep in mind, we only have 90 liters. If you're living on the road, then you know, this is luxury. That was a lot of work, but I think I covered all of it. If you have still any questions, please leave me a comment and I try to answer them. One thing is for sure, this thing is very capable. It gets you to all the places you want to go. We have everything on board we need. It's really rugged, it's quick and easy to set up, and it feels really safe once you're inside. Sometimes we wish to have a little bit more space on the inside. On the other hand, having such a small space forces you to be outside more. And that's exactly what we are after on this adventure. Thanks for watching, I hope you liked the video, learned something and maybe got a little bit inspired as well. If you want to see more of our rig in action, I highly recommend you to watch our travel videos on our channel. Later! Oh shit, the bear.